Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tiff Talks Tech. Today, I'm joined by David Holland, who's a sales and account manager at BELFOR Property Restoration. And today, we're going to be talking about tools to get in front of your audience. We'll make this more of a conversation, but I would love to kind of just chat about what tools have been useful for you. I know there's so many out there. How do you decide what's worth using in our space?
Sure, sure. But first, I do believe I'm your first repeat guest. Is
Oh my
that
gosh, you're right. Yes.
yes? I was
Yes, you
way
and I
back on episode 2, I think.
yeah. It was a while back. I can't even remember what the heck we talked about. Do you remember?
We talked about data and spreadsheets and
We
KPIs.
sure did.
We sure
Yep.
did. And I've actually switched companies since that recording, so it's a whole new me here.
Yeah. And yeah, no, totally. You've been so successful in your role now. And I feel like this is the perfect time to kind of talk about all those resources that have really been working for you. And I can share some too, but I'd love to hear from you.
Sure. So, a little bit of background. I'm David Holland. I have been in multifamily for about 10 years now. And I switched from the operator side to the supplier side, same as Tiffany. And now I'm with BELFOR Property Restoration on the sales side of things. And my goal every day is to go out there and be the supplier partner that I wish I had when I was in operations. So the topic today is what tools, technologies do I use to do that? I'm going to lob you a softball. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the first, and if you're not on LinkedIn, I don't know what you're doing these days. But the thing is, you can't just have a LinkedIn account. You actually have to post and
Yeah.
comment and 3 new users for LinkedIn every second of every day. But the
Do you have a
number of
hard and
people
fast rule for you for like how often you post?
okay, so I try to post daily. When I
Yeah.
say daily, I mean like weekday. It's a little
Right.
excessive. I would say anywhere between 3 to 5 times in a week is a good cadence. The trick is doing it consistently, right?
Yeah.
You can't do it 3 times this week and then nothing for the next 2 weeks. You got to keep showing up, and you want to do it the same time every day because your audience will kind of get into a routine. They'll know what to expect, and if you talk about the same thing in a whole bunch of different ways, but collectively it's the same thing over and over again. Like you're just getting really in depth with it. You're going to do better than talking about a million different things a little bit because no one's going to
Yeah.
see you as a subject matter expert.
Yeah.
So I've
That's true.
been doing a ton of reading and learning about LinkedIn and LinkedIn's algorithm and the right time of day and how to post and this content and the style and like all the different ways to do it. The biggest thing that I've learned since they shook up the algorithm in this past June, I would say, was then when they last messed with it, is that LinkedIn is more about sharing knowledge and sharing resources, and they'll promote that more than they will just someone being viral or trying to be viral. And
Mm,
you can't just be viral for viral's sake like you would on TikTok.
right.
And the other thing is they want conversation, they want engagement. So, it the best thing that you can do to get attention to your posts is to comment on other people's posts, right? And you have to also warm up the algorithm. So I try to post every day at like 8 a.m. Eastern time. And I'm not on at 8 a.m. I'm pre-scheduling it, right?
Right.
And when I wake up in the morning and I'm still in my pajamas, I'm having my coffee, it's 7:30. I'm into LinkedIn and I'm trying to comment on other people's posts. Because if I comment on your post, Tiffany, and it's like 20 minutes later that I post, then LinkedIn's going to show you my post thinking that you'll want to
Yeah.
now engage with me.
Okay, so here's the thing that I was wondering because I've run into this. I suck at engaging. I am trying to make that more of a habit. And I've even put a task on my Monday.com, like go on LinkedIn and engage with people, look at their stuff, whatever. But I feel like my feed is the same 5 people, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I love those 5 people, but I want to diversify what's in my feed. How the heck
Yeah.
do you do that?
So you have control over your own algorithm on LinkedIn. When you're
Hmm.
looking at someone's profile, you can follow them, you can connect with them, or you could do one or the other, right? You can be connected to someone and then also not follow them if they post annoying stuff
Yeah.
or what have you. And there's also a connection limit. No one can have more than 30,000 connections. So once someone's past
Mm.
30,000, people can only follow them. What I like to do is more than happy to connect with everyone, right? But then there's the people that I'm actively trying to hold a relationship with, my clients. I turn on not only notifications for the most relevant posts, which is like the default, but I turn on notifications for everything, right? So even if it's not relevant to my LinkedIn algorithm, I still want to know about it. And if someone posts, I want to comment on it because I want to know what's going on in their world. And that's a way that I'm trying to differentiate and stay up to date with what they're working on so that when I'm making a cold call, it's not cold, it's warm to say, hey, I saw you did a ribbon cutting, or you just earned a certification, or congratulations on whatever. I'm engaged. I'm part of this. We have a relationship, and not here's my product, here's the benefits and the features, here's why we should buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that helps a lot. Like, I think about, like, you'll comment on my stuff, and then that makes your stuff come up on my feed more often. So I think it
Correct.
really is serving the people that you engage with the most.
Correct. Right? Plus, when I comment on your post, now your post is going to get shown to my network. And when you comment on my post, my stuff will go to your network. So
Yeah.
the real way to go out on LinkedIn is to do comment. You can't just comment like great post or the little fire emoji, right? You gotta
Yeah.
add to the conversation. If someone goes on and talks all about the top 5 SaaS platforms that they learned about in 2025, and you add on great post, okay, right? Who cares, right? But if you say, hey, I really resonated with number 4, and here's some interesting ways that we're using it, and here's another one that have you considered this one, and you start a conversation, you're going to get a lot more impressions and engagement and views continuing the conversation.
Yeah, definitely. In your experience, what's actually working for getting in front of your audience? Like, I know obviously commenting, engaging, but is there anything else you do to get in front of operators and
All right, so
property
now we're going to
managers?
the next level. So LinkedIn Sales Navigator is my next
Mhm.
thing. So
Yeah.
there's the front end of LinkedIn, right? You can sign up for free, you can utilize it all you want to your heart's content. They
Yeah.
have some limitations, right? If someone was to look at your profile and you're not paying for it, it'll just tell you in your news feed, hey, such and such person in this industry in Detroit looked at your profile. No idea who that is, right? They didn't send me a
Right.
connection request, comment on any of my stuff. They looked, I don't know, LinkedIn is obfuscating it. With LinkedIn Sales Navigator, I'm paying for it, or more technically, Belfor is paying for it, right? I can see who's looking at my stuff. I can get that kind of behind the scenes stuff that LinkedIn doesn't put out there for free. And I can run really, really detailed searches so that I'm going out and connecting with the right people through LinkedIn. So my service area, my jurisdiction for my sales targets is all of New York State except for the city, right? City's got their own stuff going on. And my target customer is property managers, regional managers, operations directors, facility managers, anyone in that kind of ballpark.
Yeah.
So if someone works at a property management company, but they're like the accounting intern, that's lovely, but they're not my target person. And my content's not really for them. I'm not talking about accounting. I'm talking about property management. So what I do is I go to Sales Navigator. At first, I set the jurisdiction. So I only want to see results in this geographic area. And you can get
Mm.
really specific. You can get down to like zip codes and neighborhoods, or you could just say all of North America, like whatever your thing is. And then you can boil down to specific titles and specific companies, or even you can say, don't show me anyone who's an entry level person. You just exclude anyone with less than a year experience at the company. And it's a live search. So if you have 450 results today, and then tomorrow somebody starts a job at that company, now you have 451 results. It'll update. So I look at the results of the Sales Navigator, and one of the really cool things that LinkedIn and Sales Navigator does is it shows you your connection path, right?
Mm.
So we all know about 6 degrees of separation, right? 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. We're all connected somehow in this universe, right?
Yeah.
Through LinkedIn, I can say I'm connected to Tiffany, and Tiffany is connected to Tara, and Tara is connected to Brandon, and Brandon's connected too. And then I can message my target person and say, hey, I was just talking to Brandon and they said really nice things about you and that you do great at what you do. And he said I should connect with you. So here I am. Right. And that kind of an opening, I know you through this trusted third party is going to get you a
Mhm.
lot further than sending a connection with no opening or some kind of sell this service. You could be a buyer.
Yeah. So then when you're using those tools, like you mentioned, you have not a super broad audience, but you have people in different roles that you're targeting. So how do you tailor your outreach to each of those
Sure.
different roles you're trying to reach?
Research, right? The
Yeah.
message I'm sending to a property manager who oversees one site is different than the message I'm sending to a regional manager who oversees 5 sites, right? Because think about pain, right? When you're in sales, your job is to solve someone else's pain. So, what's the pain that a property manager has? And we'll think about it in terms of what I sell, which is restoration, right? So, the pain that I have as the property manager is, my regional, my boss, my whatever, they told me, and it's on my to do list, I need to go and write an emergency response plan. I need to write a disaster plan, and it's on the to do list. Right? So, what's something that I, as a supplier partner, not just a sales guy, as a supplier partner could do to solve that person's pain? You do it for them.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Invite me onto your site. It's not a hard invite because I'll bring lunch, right? And I'll walk the site and I'll write up your disaster planning for you. Or if I'm not available, you don't have the time, you don't want me to take the effort, whatever, that's fine. I put out a chat GPT worksheet slash prompt. You can fill in all the details about your property, copy
Mm.
paste the whole thing into chat GPT, and it will output a fully formed disaster response plan.
Yeah.
Now, to be completely transparent, in that plan, it will say, call BELFOR, because I
Yeah.
put that into the prompt, but I have no control over it if you decide to change that. That's fine, right? So, how can I put out resources and be the right person to solve the pain of the person that I'm talking to? So, for like a regional manager, you know, they're worried about collectively all of the time, they're worried about some kind of a crisis. But the reality of the thing is you really can only plan to have like one crisis at a time. If I oversee 5 or 6 sites, right? Or actually we'll do the Tiffany story. If I do the marketing for 74 properties, right? And I'm the person getting the phone call
Yeah.
if it was a PR nightmare, right?
Mhm.
So my opener line to you would be, "Hey Tiffany, what are you doing to ensure that none of your sites wind up on the 6 o'clock news following a disaster on site?"
Yeah. I don't know. Nothing.
That's not a disaster response question. That's not who's the plumber. That's what's your internal PR and how do you deal with communication relating to when the news shows up in your parking lot?
Yeah. I mean, it's happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Were you ready
We were
for
on
it?
the news, we were on no, it's called the Turco Files, and this guy comes and he's, like, running in the office trying to interview the property manager, and he just shuts the door on his face. Like, that is awful, that is an awful experience. We don't wanna do that, we had no plan in place.
Yep. Yep. So a crisis compounds if the first 10 minutes of a crisis is chaos, the whole rest of it's going to be chaos. Right.
Yeah.
But if you can say, hey, here's the plan, everyone knows their role, we ran the drill, right? You're going to have a much smoother time at this. And when you think about what happens next, right? Think about retention. Think about tenant retention or resident retention. Think about employee retention, right? Think about potential lawsuits. Think about anything that could happen by not having something in place, right? So my conversation, my initial outreach to like a regional manager is, would you be ready if 2 of your sites experienced a crisis at the same time? Say there was a hurricane, a tornado, a flood, right? Would your team know what to do if you couldn't physically be there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the other things with sales, and this is like a mentality more than as a technology, right? The formula that you should be talking about is problem plus solution equals result, right?
Mm.
I'm
Yeah.
selling the solution, but I'm talking about the result, right? What's the result of having, you know, what's the result of having fraud protection in place for your sites? You have
Your
more of or
sites
less
are
of what?
safer. You have less bad debt,
Okay, which means what for the site, for the budget,
which means you're on budget. You're not losing money.
right?
Yeah.
So if the result is what we're all trying to strive for, and then at the end it's like, oh, by the way, here's the solution that could help you get to the result. Now let's just talk right about implementation, right?
Yeah.
Problem
Definitely.
plus
Well,
solution.
then if you think about like the way that you are customizing your outreach, are there any tools that help you do that? Because it can take a really long time. And if you think about
Sure,
like ABM marketing and you're trying to have such a distinct message for each person, is there anything that you use that makes that a little bit easier?
sure. Chat GPT.
Yeah.
If you go to someone's LinkedIn profile, right, go to more actions right on the top, and you can drop it down and it says download this profile. You can download a PDF of everything that that person has put out on LinkedIn, their title, their about me section, their job experience, all the little bullet points below their job experience. Take that PDF, put it in a chat GPT and say, doing a cold outreach to this person, write my messages.
Yeah. Okay. So here's something that I did recently that I think was really useful. I'm going to give away a very, very big secret of mine here.
Oh boy.
Yeah, used fireflies. I went and I listened to because we're working on expanding with certain companies. I used fireflies. I went to their onboarding calls or their, customer success calls. I looked at the notes and I went to see what were their biggest concerns. And then I went into our content and found which content related to each of those people so that we could personalize it per
Yeah.
company. Like, these are the concerns that this company is worried about. Oh, we have a resource for that. So then our team can go out and be like, hey, we were just thinking about you. This might be really relevant, blah, blah, blah.
Yep. Yep.
But I used AI to do all of it, so it wasn't really time consuming, but, that's just a little secret that you could take with you to
I'm
help
gonna take
you.
that to the next level, right? So you had the intel. You knew what the problems were, right?
Yeah.
But let's say you didn't. Let's say you're new to the company, new to, whatever. Go to Google, look up the properties that they manage and see what people are complaining about in their reviews.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If I was a parking management company and I saw that this one property had scathing reviews all about their parking, I know what pain they're having.
Yeah.
Right? You could probably go to apartments.com and search the whole town at once.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's just doing it.
Yeah. And just having
Yeah,
the idea to do it.
yeah. So I'll go to the next level now. All right. So we did LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and now we're going to talk about automation tools for
Right.
LinkedIn. So there's a whole bunch out there, and I'm gonna throw a little disclaimer. They're not exactly kosher with LinkedIn's terms of service. And if LinkedIn catches you, they could give you a slap on the wrist or just boot you off of LinkedIn altogether.
Mm.
So buyer beware, go at your own risk. But if you want to use a LinkedIn automation tool, they're out there. Right. And when they say automation tool, they can do stuff like sending connection requests on your behalf. They can send direct messages. They can like everything that someone posts. They can automatically invite people to events. They can automatically invite people to groups. If
Mm.
you put out a poll on LinkedIn, it'll send a connection request to everyone that responds to the poll. So there's a lot of different things you can automate into LinkedIn, but keep in mind they're not the most kosher according to the LinkedIn terms of service.
Yeah, and it probably depends, like, what you're using it for. Like, I know I've gotten a lot of automatic DMs where I'm like, this is spam. I've had competitors reach out to me via DMs and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, sure. So I feel like it really depends on the function that you're using it for because like you said, adding every single person who interacts with your poll, I think that's a great move. But you just need to think about what is it that I'm using the automation for.
Right. Right. And I'm sure you've seen, and everyone's seen, the recruiters on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're I think it might have just started or it's about to start, but they're making it so that if you list recruiter anywhere on your profile, you have to like verify through Clear that you are this real person with this real job and you're not just a spam bot.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
LinkedIn is paying attention. They are actively trying to curtail these things,
Yeah. No,
right?
definitely.
All right. So moving on from LinkedIn, right? So you found your target person, you found their name, you found their title, you found their company. How do you get in front of them? You need their phone number, you need their
Right.
email, or show up on the site, right? But that's not always practical. So I use a thing called Apollo. There's also another very similar one called Seamless, and it's an AI contact finder. So you can be looking at the person's LinkedIn page and click the little button on the Google Chrome extension. And in like seconds, it'll scrape the whole internet and find their phone number and find their email.
Ooh, that's handy. I'm gonna get that.
I mean, I would say it works 80% of the time.
Yeah.
And if you get a wrong number, you just say, "Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, wrong number." Right? No big deal. And, you know, if you deal with trying to reach people and finding their contact information is a problem, then it's worth the 45, $50 a month for a service like that.
It reminds me of something that I've used. Have you heard of Popple?
I have heard of Popple. I was actually going to get to
Okay.
digital business cards next.
Yeah. Okay. So we've used that for digital business cards. And they used to not charge for it. I was kind of mad that they started charging for it. But if you do a lot of conferences and events, they have something where if you scan their badge, it will automatically populate all their information using AI, which I
Yeah,
loved because you're paying for the scanners at these events. I'm like, oh, well, I don't even need that. I just do it with my digital business card thing on my
right,
phone for the people I'm interested in.
right.
So, I mean, I love that tool. It is an extra cost now, which I was like, "No," but
So I like Popple. That's a good one. I find they're kind of annoying, like they want to take over your whole phone.
yeah.
But I like Mobillo. That's kind of my go-to.
What's it called?
Mobillo. Mobillo. It does all the same stuff as Popple.
Does it
They
do
give
the
you a nice.
AI thing?
I don't know about that one. I don't
Okay.
know.
Well, because 'cause
They have
I'm
a
looking
couple
for a new
different.
one since I'm mad at Popple about charging me. I'm like, "I'm gonna look for a new one."
Well, I don't know. We can check out their website. But
Yeah.
they do have like a lead capture feature. So when you tap your card
Yeah.
to someone's phone or your phone to their phone or whatever, it'll say, "Hey, give me all your contact information, and then I'll give you mine." So it's a one for one. And
Yeah.
you can go through Zapier or something and say, "Hey, I have a new lead coming in with the lead source being from my digital business card." Trigger the workflow to say, "Hey, let's send them a text message or send them an email or an invitation to a lunch or a coffee or something." So if you're really trying to do a lot of workflows, go for Zapier or something very
Yeah.
similar like make.com.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it is with that one. I know with Popple, you can also have it, when they open up your contact, open it up to the links that you wanted to see. So it can see,
Yes.
your
Yeah.
phone number, whatever, but you could also include a resource in there or your website or whatever,
Yep.
all in that spot.
Yep. So I have that same setup. It's really slick actually. I have my
Yeah.
digital landing page match my actual physical card and it's really slick. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I love that.
All right. So that was digital business cards. Now I want to get into something that I actually learned about from your show, which is really kind of cool. This is Plaud, Plaud. Do you have one of
Yeah.
these? Do you use one of these?
No.
Okay, so this is really cool. I learned about it from one of your guests right at the end when they were talking about their technology. I was like, oh, that sounds
Yeah.
cool. So this is a physical thing. The one I have is about the size of a credit card. They also have another one that's like a necklace or a bracelet, like it's a wearable, but they both do the same thing. And when I'm going into a meeting, when I'm in a phone call, a whatever, I just press the one button and it starts recording. And when I'm done, I put it up to my phone. I open the Plod app and I hit transfer, and it sends the recording over to ChatGPT, who transcribes the whole thing, and then I can work with it in ChatGPT and say, make my meeting minutes or write up my to-dos or write my follow-up campaign or what are some learnings I had from this or take this information and make it into a LinkedIn post or whatever. All of the
Yeah.
capabilities of your favorite AI.
That's amazing. I didn't know it was a physical item. That's really cool, and I want
Yeah.
that. I wonder if
So
it's
if I'm
legal?
going to a doctor appointment, right? I'm
Yeah.
not taking notes. I can take this thing with me. It'll record. And then afterwards, I can be like, okay, explain what the hell the doctor was trying to tell me in all these medical terms
Yeah.
because I don't know.
Yeah. I love that. That's amazing.
Right? And if you're someone that's like a home inspector, right? And all you're doing is walking around a house and pointing things out. At the end of the day, you have to remember what you said and then write up a report. So you could just record it and then feed the transcription into ChatGPT and say, write up my home inspection report.
Yeah. It's so I'm like, I don't even think I need my brain anymore, but I do. Just AI is really, really helping me.
Seriously helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what else you got?
All right. Let's see here. We went through a bunch really fast there.
I know
Uh,
we did.
Canva? I mean, Canva's really predictable. Everyone knows Canva at this point. Canva
I
Pro is
love
like
it though.
it's worth the $15 a month, or it's like $100 a year if you're paying for it for the year. Uh,
Canva's my savior, I swear.
you could do a lot of like I used to be like really handy in Photoshop, but it's so expensive. So like Canva's good enough.
Love it. I think I've made so many graphics in it. I've made GIFs in it. I mean, GIFs. It has your whole brand kit, all that jazz. I mean, I'm obsessed with it.
Canva's pretty great.
Yeah.
I don't know. What am I forgetting? You said this was going to be a conversation. So what are your top tools?
I know. Well, I was just gonna say Fireflies because it helped me do all of that. And ChatGPT really does help me pretty much shape everything.
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like I gave away a lot of my good ones too. I've been
I
using
got
a lot of Monday.com for my scheduling and all my tasks that I have to do every day.
okay. I like
Yeah,
Grammarly.
I do too.
Oh, it's fantastic because it makes it
Yeah.
just sound better, right? And they've got the Grammarly AI now, so it's not like here's one little mistake. It's like rewrite the whole paragraph so the whole thing flows
Yeah.
better.
I really like that. What I found going back to Canva, so they have something similar where like you can write an article, you give it your brand voice, and then
Mhm.
it can rewrite everything in your brand voice. However, Canva's kind of sucks. And I think that I will sing Canva's praises till the cows come home. But that part, like every time I see the rewrite, I'm like, this sounds weird.
Yeah,
But Grammarly, I always come back to Grammarly because I think it sounds a lot more professional when I use their AI tools versus AI tools.
I agree. Also, Google has done a lot recently. Like Gemini is really a contender.
Yeah,
The image
yeah.
generation power of Gemini is impressive.
I haven't messed with it enough. I hear a lot of people who use it, and I feel like I should go back to it and try it. But I've been using Perplexity for a lot because I like that it gives
Have
me
you?
the sources.
I just signed up for that a couple days ago. I haven't really dug into it just yet, but I'm excited to try it.
Yeah, it gives me a lot of sources where I can directly go and find things, whereas ChatGPT, sometimes it can make things up. You just never really know. So I like
Hallucinations.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But going back to Google for a
yeah,
sec, like just beyond Gemini, the whole rest of the Google workspace, there's a lot of tips and tricks and cool things you can do with like calendar. Okay. I have a
yeah,
work calendar, I have a personal calendar, I have a family calendar, and I don't want to double book myself, which happens all the time when you manage three calendars. Right.
yeah,
So I got some how step-by-step how-to guidance out of ChatGPT, and I set up a Google Workspace calendar scheduling link akin to like Calendly or something, but it's free because I already have Google. And now I can book appointments, but cross-reference my other calendars so I don't ever accidentally double book myself.
yeah,
And I just put my
absolutely.
calendar link out there on LinkedIn and I'll get 2 or 3 a week. People are like, "Oh, I saw your content. I like your stuff. I wanted to talk to you." Great. They come in as a meeting. It's like fantastic.
Yeah. We recently kind of changed our workflows to reflect that as well, where you can just directly schedule an appointment rather than
Yeah,
requesting an appointment. And I think it works so much better because people are coming in, booking it there with what works for them, and then you're
yeah,
not forgotten about.
yeah. I heard a stat recently. You might be able to verify this because you got more apartment marketing experience than I do. But it was something like only 13% of people that call an apartment community and then the call goes to voicemail actually leave a voicemail.
Yeah. Yeah. That seems about
Yeah.
right. Like people are not going to leave you a message because they know they're not going to get a call back.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you counteract that? You put all of the information out on the website, the pricing, the scheduling tool, the floor plans. Let people do it on their own schedule and eliminate the need for a phone call.
Yeah. Totally. Okay, so I just thought of something we can touch on. Once you get somebody who's scheduled that meeting with you or they have kind of closed business with you, are there any tools that you recommend for that have been really good for onboarding or nurturing or even expanding within their portfolios?
Yeah. I'm gonna go back to everything I already said. So the way it works in my world is you pick up one property at a time. So picture a property management company with multi-state operations. They've got 50, 60 properties. They're all over the place, right? Property A is not talking to property B about their preferred supplier, right? Because New York is different than Texas, is different than California. But when you work for a global organization and we have the capability to serve all these places, right? I can talk to my local property A, get their buy-in, get them onboarded, and then say, "Hey, would you mind introducing me to a manager or regional manager at property B?" And then I talk to them and say, "Hey, we recently got set up over at property A. They're liking it. We're having a good time. Would it be a ridiculous idea to get you set up as well?" Right. And it just kind of spider webs in that direction. And if you can pick up a regional manager or two along the way, then you're just taking chunks of the portfolio at a time. And then once you got the whole company, you can go to like a ALN data or smart apartments. We should get into those. Right. And you can
I
see
was
who,
just thinking,
yeah, we you could who their competitors are, who their neighbors are, and say, "Hey, we do this thing for the people across the street. So we're already in your neighborhood. We know your property pretty well because we drive by it to get to your competitor, and we do this for you, right?"
right.
So
No,
let's go
totally.
back.
I was just thinking about smart apartment data and ALN because that's a tool that I've actually been diving into recently. When we are
Yeah,
looking at expanding our portfolios, I will pull the active property list and then I start to get even more granular with our
yeah,
sales reps. And we go down and we see like how many properties does this company have in your walkable market, like right next to you? How many can we bring on from that regional? Like we're diving in and we're learning more about those specific people that manage that property and all the things as
right,
granular as we can get with
right,
that information. It's not always accurate, but there's a lot that you can get from
yeah.
them.
It's a better starting point than a blank page,
Right.
right?
Exactly. That's
Even
what
if
I
they're
always
only
say. I'm like, yeah,
Even if they're only updating it once every 30, 60, 90 days, it's a lot better of a starting point than not having anything, right? So
exactly. I'm like, we know they have about this many properties in their portfolio. We know about the potential that's out there. I mean,
right.
even knowing that is helpful.
And the other cool thing is those same companies, it can do like driving routes. So if you say, "Oh, I want to hit these specific properties," it'll
Right.
basically overlay it over to Google Maps and say, "Stop here, stop there." The whole trip is an hour and a half.
Right. So helpful.
Very helpful.
Yeah, I was just talking with my team a couple weeks ago and we were talking about when we didn't have all these tools. And I was like, what did you guys do back in the old days? I mean, I'm a millennial, so I was alive when the internet came out, but I wasn't a working position. So I'm like, what did you guys do? And they're like, well, there was this big book. People would open it up and that's where they find their apartments. And I'm like, oh, so you like didn't email people? You didn't have an ILS? They're like, nope,
Back in the simpler times, and it was just phone numbers in a phone book.
no chat GPT to think for you.
Yep. Doesn't like our bachelor's and master's and all the degrees, I feel like they should count more because they happened before ChatGPT. Is
Oh
that
my
a fair
God.
assessment?
It
Is
makes me
that
so
fair?
sad. I'm like, did I just waste my time in
Yeah,
school?
it's enough.
Are there any platforms or tools that you're looking at that you want to try next on your list?
So, we have what to try next? That's a good question. I feel like okay, so I heard about this one. I haven't really dug into it yet, so I have no idea if what I'm saying is accurate or not. But I found this one that's called Extrovert, I want to say. And basically, you put in the people that you want to connect with, right? Your target people, their Facebook, their LinkedIn, their whatever. And then it watches for their posts. And when they ask, hey, does anyone have a recommendation for a siding company, a paving company, wherever? It alerts you so that you can just go right into that post and say, yes, I have a recommendation. Here's the company.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that
But I
up.
haven't really played with it yet. So I might be totally making that up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, we'll look into that one.
Yeah.
It sounds
There is one
interesting.
more that you actually just triggered in my head. It's called Convex. And if you picture like Google Maps, where you can see all the buildings, Convex makes it so you can click on the building and it will tell you who the owner is, who the tenants are, like if it's a commercial setup, and their contact information.
That's amazing. That is one downfall that I've struggled with like smart apartment data, because like the owner
Yeah.
information is
Like, who's the
the
legal
thing that,
entity on this one? I have no idea.
yeah,
Right. We watch 911 calls, right? Because if there's some big event that we want to know about it, right?
yeah.
The 911 call comes through, it doesn't say, this is for the Village Path Apartments. It says 123 Main Street. And then you got to work
Mhm.
backwards and you got to figure out who's at that address, what's the name of the property, who's the ownership, who's the manager, who's the regional manager. And it's like there's layers of research that you got to do quickly because you want to be the first one to show up with your business card. Having a service that cuts out all that time and energy, it's really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. For anybody who feels overwhelmed by all the tools that we've shared and all the tools that are out there, what's one thing you'd tell them to start doing right now that would make things easier for them?
Have a meeting with your team, figure out who your ICP is. I'm not talking
Mhm.
in clown posse. I mean your ideal customer profile, right? Is it the marketing person? Is it the property manager? Is it the regional manager? Is it the like who are you actually who is the decision maker? Who is the one that you actually need to be targeting? Because if I'm selling like leasing software and going after leasing agents, I'm never going to sell it because the leasing agents aren't the decision makers,
Yeah.
right? They might be stakeholders, they might be someone who can vouch for my product, but they're not the one to sign the check, right? So, first off, figure out who you're going after. Secondly, figure out what their pain is. Because, like I said earlier, this is all about solving pain. Features and benefits are lovely. You ever see the Wolf of Wall Street or the Sell Me This Pen?
Yeah.
It's that, I need to solve a pain. I saw a funny thing the other day. It was, someone said it was an interview. It was a sale. Some guy was interviewing. This was some internet thing, right? And he said, "Sell me this laptop," right? So the guy picked up the laptop, put it in his bag, and he left. Like 2 or 3 hours later, the interviewer called and said, "I already need the laptop back." And he said, "It'll be $100."
That's amazing.
Right? It's all
Yeah.
about pain. So if you can figure out who it is and what pain they're having and how you can solve it, then you can talk about what's the right technology to help us get there. But if I don't
Yeah.
know what there is, how are you ever going to get there?
Yeah. No,
Right?
I think that's such a great example.
Take your end product, right? Stick it into ChatGPT and say, how do I sell to this person? Imagine, here's the scenario, here's my company, here's my geographic area. Imagine you had no budget. How would you do it? Right?
Mhm.
And then reel it in. Right? I don't have the money for two, three, four programs. I got the money for one. What's the best one? How would you set up the process? And just go back and forth with ChatGPT until you get something that is worth trying and you feel like you have the ability to put in place and try it.
Yeah.
And then iterate.
Yeah. Totally. I love it. Well, I think this is the first episode where I'm not going to ask what's a tech tool that you're loving right now, because I feel like the whole episode was just
Was
all the
that?
tools we're loving. Yeah. Yeah. So this is a monumental moment, but I do feel like this was such a resourceful and tactical episode. So thank you for joining me.
Of
Where
course.
can people find you and connect with you and just learn more about you?
Of course. LinkedIn is my go-to. It's linkedin.com/David Holland CPM. I'm working on having 4,000 connections by the end of the year, so I could use some more friends on LinkedIn. Please reach out. And yeah, like I said, I'm with BELFOR Property Restoration. I volunteer a whole bunch with IREM, with National Apartment Association. So you'll find me in person at Apartmentalize and at the IREM get togethers. And I'm more than happy to chat with anyone who might be interested. I have, I don't know, 9, 10 years of property management, flipped over to the supplier side. So I'm really just trying to be the supplier partner I wish I had. That's
Yeah,
it.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, and I hope everybody got something out of this episode.